So welcome everybody to today's Leadership Lab hosted by the San Marcos Area Chamber of Commerce. My name is Kevin Wolf. I'm with CobbFendley and Associates. We're a multidiscipline engineering and surveying firm here in the San Marcos area. I'm also a proud member of the board of directors of the San Marcos Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm truly honored to be the MC for today's presentation. Today we're going to hear from Lauren Willis with the Guadalupe-Blanco River Authority, also known as the GBRA. Lauren will be giving an overview that highlights water supplies, environmental science initiatives, and education programs. So first, a little bit about our presenter. Lauren Willis is the Director of Government and Community Affairs at the GBRA, where she is responsible for developing and implementing the External Affairs program that includes government and public relations, customer service, and board of director engagement. She has a Bachelor and Master's of Science degree in Agricultural Leadership, Education, and Communication from Texas A&M University. And so now, without further ado, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Lauren Willis. So, to get us started, Lauren, can you please share an overview of the GBRA mission and key responsibilities in managing our region's water resources?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today. So the Guadalupe-Blanco River Authority was created by the Texas legislature in 1933. We are governed by a board of 9 directors. Those directors are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. So here you can see we have a 10-county statutory district. It starts near the headwaters of the Guadalupe in Kendall County, pretty much follows the river all the way down to San Antonio Bay. We do know that the Guadalupe River actually starts in Kerr County. They have their own river authority up there, the Upper Guadalupe River Authority. And they do different tasks than what we do, but it's certainly something that we partner with them a lot. Ultimately, GBRA is a water and wastewater utility provider. So today I'm going to focus more on the water supply side. But if you do have any questions about anything else that we do, I'm more than happy to take those at the end. So to start off, our commitment or our mission is to lead cooperative stewardship of the water resources within the Guadalupe River Basin to promote quality of life for all. And with our strategic plan, we have 5 strategic commitments that everything we do fits into one of these buckets. So for our commitment on focus on the future, we have goals associated with this commitment about implementing solutions for future water and wastewater use, and also being a leader in environmental stewardship. For operational excellence, our goals associated with this are providing superior water and wastewater services, strategies for asset management and IT, and then also making sure that we are prudently managing our financial resources. We also have cooperative collaboration, and that goal is to engage with the community. So this is an example of engaging with the community, getting out and about. We have invest in our people. The goals associated with this are really centric to human resources and ensuring that we can recruit and retain high-quality team members, and also creating a safety culture. And then last but not least, we have integrated communications. And the goals associated with this are to grow and improve brand awareness, and then also expanding public outreach through education. So the last thing I want to highlight, just kind of as an overview of who GBRA is I want to review our funding structure. So first and foremost, we are not a taxing entity. We were not created to be able to levy taxes. So all of our revenues come from different customers. We have our water sales, treatment, and distribution, and that's what I'm going to really touch on today. But we also generate revenue from wastewater services, grants, a small amount of hydroelectric generation, our regional laboratory, and recreation.
Thank you, Lauren. Can you please explain the importance of Canyon Lake to the Central Texas region and how the GBRA is managing this resource, especially given the region's rapid growth and recurring droughts?
Absolutely. So here is a recent photo of Canyon Lake. We're all very aware of the drought that is occurring here in Central Texas. So I wanted to speak a little bit about what Canyon Lake is, when it was built, where it's located, and what is the importance of it. So Canyon Lake is located in Comal County. It was built in the 1960s and is a collaboration between GBRA and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And the reason Canyon Lake was built was for two reasons. One was flood mitigation, and the other was for water supply, and specifically water supply during drought. So Canyon Lake is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, getting us through a time of drought for water supply. So this morning when I checked, Canyon Lake's about 52% full. We are still very much hoping it is going to rain soon and get a significant amount of rain. But with Canyon Lake, so Guadalupe-Blanco River Authority has a surface water permit from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, or TCEQ. And we have a permit that we can take 90,000 acre feet of water per year out of Canyon Lake for water supply. So with that, we have a little over 25 wholesale customers that buy water from us. And those customers can be municipalities. So for example, the cities of San Marcos, Kyle, and Bernie get water out of Canyon. We also have other water utilities that get water out of Canyon, such as Texas Water, New Braunfels Utilities, and the Canyon Regional Water Authority as well. So that's just to name a few. I do want to mention that for the past 20 years, Canyon Lake has been fully allocated. We are not selling any new water. We are not adding any new customers to Canyon Lake. We have had the same customers in the past 20 years getting water from Canyon Lake. So part of the question was, how are we managing this resource during a time of drought? GBRA does have a drought contingency plan in place for their wholesale customers. So just how you have maybe stage 2 restrictions for your home, we also have restrictions for our wholesale customers in our drought contingency plan. So right now, currently, we are in stage 3 of that plan that calls for a 15% reduction in use from our wholesale customers. So here is a chart that I want to kind of walk you through, this flow chart of how the water flows out of Canyon. So here at the very top, it pretty much just states we're looking at Canyon Lake Reservoir. This is the water that we're getting out of Canyon Lake. And this middle row here that's gold are wholesale customers that are getting raw water out of Canyon. So you can see we have a couple of industrial customers that get water out of Canyon. And then we also have the city of San Marcos. So the city of San Marcos owns the water treatment plant here in town, but GBRA operates it for them. And from the city of San Marcos water treatment plant, it is not only the city of San Marcos that is getting water. It is also what we call our IH-35 customers, that we have a treated pipeline going up IH-35. And the city of Buda, the city of Kyle, and other water utility districts are getting water from the San Marcos water treatment plant. So I wanted to show you this just so you can kind of understand first the importance of the San Marcos water treatment plant to this region, because they're not just serving San Marcos, but then also how you can understand how far the water from Canyon reaches.
So, Lauren, how does the GBRA work with local businesses, communities, municipalities to really educate them and involve them in water conservation and resource management efforts?
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to start out with actually the youth population. They're a very important population that we absolutely focus on. And so we have multiple different education initiatives that we have within GBRA. So first is our outdoor classrooms. That is at Canyon Lake Gorge there in Comal County, and then also Coleto Creek down in Victoria County. And what we're able to do is provide outdoor hands-on learning experience for children. And this is something that teachers can call up GBRA. They can ask us how they can book a session with that. And that's the case for all of these, by the way, as far as education. Another program we have is our education trunks, and we actually started this during COVID. We actually have a trunk or a bin full of supplies and the instructions for a lesson that a teacher can check out. And so they can give us a call, they can ask for one of these trunks. We can make sure it gets delivered to their school and they can use that. And we have different topics on water properties, water cycle, landforms, watersheds, etc. We also have 2 books that are education material books, the Journey Program and Water Makes the World Go Round. And this is something that teachers can give us a call and we can ship those booklets to their classroom that they can use throughout the year. We also have an annual composition challenge. And so this challenge is specifically for 4th graders, and they get to practice their reading and writing skills, and we will prompt them with a water conservation topic. So they are using their skills for water conservation. And then last but not least, we have our GBRA scholarship program. This is for any senior that's in our 10-county statutory district can apply for this. And every year we have a little new prompt, but again, it's going to be on water quality or water conservation that they need to write about. And then those are graded and scholarships are given out for those. These scholarships can be used at a 4-year university, a community college, or a technical college. And so those come out in January of every year. So those are about to come out this year. So that's what we do for focusing on students. But part of the question is, how do we gauge in the community, the municipalities, some of the other water utilities? So with that, GBRA right now is working on creating a basin-wide habitat conservation plan, or HCP. So what is an HCP? An HCP balances protections of species while also meeting future water and wastewater needs. It's about protecting threatened and endangered species within the Guadalupe River Basin. So the Guadalupe River is 432 miles from the headwaters in Kerr County all the way down to the bay. And this plan is going to cover all 432 miles of that watershed. So GBRA is looking at how our operations impact habitat, food chain, breeding grounds for these threatened and endangered species. And then the next step that we're doing is we are identifying the conservation measures that we will need to take to protect these threatened and endangered species. Pretty much right now, we are in year 3 of a 5-year planning cycle, and it is not a cheap process. We have spent $3.2 million so far on this. I mention that because we are also partnering with local communities in what is called a second party take coverage. And so other entities can take part in our habitat conservation plan. They can list the activities that they're doing and their conservation measures and protect those threatened and endangered species without having to spend that $3.2 million in that planning cycle. So this is one of those ways that we are engaging our other community members and municipalities in the region. A second way that we are doing that is through One Water. This is a concept that all water has value, and it means all water has value at every stage, whether it's coming from a lake, a river, it's storm water, it's wastewater, it's AC condensate, it all has value. And what this initiative does, it puts it in perspective that all water has value. It makes sure that there's multiple benefits getting used. And then it's also thinking on a watershed scale. And again, that watershed scale is what fosters that regional collaboration, because we cannot work throughout the entire basin without that regional collaboration. And it's about leveraging the strengths of each community. So in a traditional way, it was something that all plans were different. So a stormwater plan, you had one group working on, you had a water utility group that was working on water supply, you maybe had wastewater in a different department. At the city of New Braunfels, you have New Braunfels Utilities that's not even in the city, not even a city department. So it can be all very segregated. By doing the One Water approach, you get all of those people in one room and you talk about stormwater and wastewater and water supply all together. So an example of this specifically is One Water New Braunfels. So in 2023, the city of New Braunfels, NBU, and GBRA all signed an interlocal agreement to work together to create a New Braunfels One Water approach. So an example of this, the city of New Braunfels has been looking at their land development ordinance and trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do with all this new growth? How are we going to manage this? And the three organizations, the city, MBU, and GBRA, all got in a room together, looked at that city ordinance, and made recommendations for that would be beneficial for all three organizations. So this is another great way that we are getting into the community. There are other communities besides New Braunfels that are taking this One Water approach. And so it's something that GBRA is definitely looking at partnering with other communities. And we look forward to more of this coming out.
Thank you, Lauren. I think as we all know, the education of conservation is going to be one of the most important things for our communities as we go into these, as it keeps getting drier and drier around here, it seems like. I want to remind the audience, so as we kind of roll into some of the last questions here, everybody does have a note card in front of them. If you do have any questions on, water resource management, feel free to write those down and we'll get those answered here at the end. Okay, so, based on what you had just said, looking ahead, so what are GBRA's long-term goals and strategies to address future water needs and ensure the resilience of our water system for generations to come?
Okay, so I'm going to show you a really scary map right here. This comes from the state, the Texas Demographic Center, and it is a projected percent population change in counties. And here are 5 of our 10 counties right here in this deep red. Kendall, Comal, Guadalupe, Caldwell, and Hayes counties are all projected to see a change of anywhere from 50 to 300% growth to 2060. What are we doing about that? So I spoke a little bit about Canyon Lake and our surface water right that we have up in Canyon Lake. That is fully allocated. No new customers can go on to that. We also have a water right in Luling. That is also fully allocated and serves the communities of Luling and Lockhart. We have a Carrizo groundwater supply that is coming out of the Carrizo Aquifer in Caldwell and Gonzales counties. That is also fully committed and cannot take any new customers. With that being said, GBRA still does have a mid-basin and lower basin surface water right that we have not done much with that can be firmed up. So in the water world, when we say we're going to firm up water rights, it means we're going to make them resilient and reliable during a time of drought. So this is our next water supply project that we're looking at, is firming both the mid-basin and lower basin water rights up, and then we will be transporting that water to where it's needed. So we are currently meeting with different communities and customers to see who needs water and how much, to see how we can serve them in the next 10 to 15 years. Water projects do take quite a bit of time to get online. So this is probably something that would happen in the next 10 years in a very aggressive timeline. And then last but not least, I kind of want to, what do I want to say? Zoom out. I would like to zoom out and talk about what is going on with the legislature, because this is another community that we engage with. We are always engaging with our elected officials, whether it's at the city and county level or at the state level. But I wanted to let you know what was done in the last session and then what the crystal ball is maybe telling us for this session. So last session, in 2023, Texans they voted to approve Proposition 6, which authorized the Texas Water Fund and an appropriation of $1 billion. And there were a couple of stipulations that it said out of that $1 billion, 25% of that funding would be for new water supply. And new water supply was defined as desal, produced water treatment, which that is something that's kind of done in West Texas with oil and gas. So that is way out of my purview of what I know about that. And then aquifer storage and recovery. Then it also stipulated that 75% of the funding would need to go into Texas Water Development Board pre-existing programs. And they put some things that they really wanted to highlight. They wanted the money to go towards rural populations, permitted projects, so projects that already had all their permits in place and getting them to the next step, creating a statewide water public awareness campaign, identifying water conservation strategies, and then looking at water loss mitigation projects. So this is what was done in last session and has been put into place. So what the legislature is looking at in this next session, which is going to be, let me see here. Okay, so the 89th legislative session is going to start on January 14th in 2025, so our odd year. And what the legislatures have been talking about is first, a one-time infusion like this $1 billion from last session. The Texas Comptroller's Office has projected that there's probably going to be about $20 billion of a surplus again this year. They are also saying that this will probably be one of the last sessions we will see a surplus. So everyone's going to be really fighting for that money. So they're looking at a one-time infusion. We're hoping it might be $1 billion. We're hoping it could be $5 billion. We don't know. The other thing legislators are looking at is long-term dedicated funding. Texas Parks and Wildlife, TxDOT, all have dedicated funding. Water infrastructure doesn't. So that is something that is very much on the minds that this needs to be set up. Where they're pulling that money from, I have no idea. But there is talk of actually creating that. So that's great. The next thing that they're looking at is the length of financing. So right now, you're really only able to get financing for 30 years. Water supply projects are way more complicated. They're serving a regional area, and they're taking much longer to construct. They also have a lifespan longer than 30 years now. And so they're looking at maybe changing that to 40 or 50 years. The new water supply projects are not costing in the millions. They're costing in the billions now. So with that being said, I know there's a lot of challenges to overcome in the future. There are an infinite number of opportunities for collaboration, conservation, and growth. And so GBRA is really looking forward to partnering with our communities to ensure that the needs of Texans can be met. So thank you so much, and I'm more than happy to take any of those questions at this time.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you.